Welcome to History Time. My name is Kafui Day, and we are continuing our focus on the events of 1979, 45 years ago, a really tumultuous time in Ghana's period where there were 3 heads of state in that particular year alone, 2 attempts to overthrow a government, one of which was successful, 2 rounds of executions of top military leaders, 2 elections, and a new civilian president to boot. And on today's edition of History Time, I speak to a retired military officer who has lived through all the times in Ghana, even before 79, lived through the 66 and 72, 79, and this is for his reflections of that time in Ghana. My guest is Captain Joel Sowu, retired. Captain, it's really great to have you on History Time.
Yes, but when you called me, you said we are going to talk about 72.
We will.
So specifically.
You will definitely talk about 72. We'll even talk about the time before 72.
Before 72.
Because without 72, there was no 79.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I'll find out what your thoughts were, or what your experiences were in that year. But we can take it back to the beginning,
Yes.
even before 1972.
Yes.
Tell us how you became a military officer.
Thank you. And good morning to your people, all those who are listening and those who are watching. Military officer. I finished school in 1959. And I attended Zion College of West Africa. We were then at VUI. And when we finished school, I came back to Accra. When the school sets results come in, we all went to Establishment Secretariat. Now that building is now occupied by head of civil service. So one day I was told the results had come. I went there, and there was a long table with a man sitting behind the table with all the results in front of him, and the room was packed with a lot of girls. And you had to pass through the girls to go and find out whether you have made it or you haven't made it. And after going through the girls and got to the man, we opened Zion College. My name was not there. I don't know whether you can imagine yourself in such a situation. You know, your stomach, makes a noise. And sweat breaks out on your forehead. Then I saw AME Zion. So I told the man, please, can we look at AME Zion? When we opened it, my name was the first one. And you can imagine.
Yes, the relief. What was the significance of your name being there? It means you had passed?
I don't know. No, but I passed. But I think when they were
collating the results,
by
Zion.
mistake.
Yes.
So
that was quick thinking on your part.
Yes.
To think about the AME Zion.
Yes. I saw the AME Zion. Then I came out. Then just beside the Establishment Secretariat, you have Auditor General's Department. And somehow I just said, I'm going to work here.
Okay.
So I went to the day watchman and said, I want to see the Auditor General. He said, what for? I said, I want to come and work here. He said, you write application? I said, no. You Chris? People write application, they don't. But I said, I want to see the auditor. He said, it's up there, go. I went there. He's called Mr. Sabine, a white man.
Okay, British guy.
Then I showed him my school set results. He just brushed it aside. I said, what games were you playing in school? And I said, I was playing football. I was doing high jump. I was the third seed in table tennis. And I was doing long jump also. Then in those days they had what we call the intercom. So he pressed it. He said, Mr. Parks, there is a young man here who wants to work with us. I want you to interview him. If he's suitable, we take him. And said, go to the first floor of Mr. Parks. I went to Mr. Parks. I gave my results to him. He just brushes aside. He said, what games were you? And I said, football. I said, what position? I said, I was a goalkeeper. He said, I myself, I was a hockey goalkeeper. And we started talking about the techniques of goalkeeping.
Yeah.
After 7 minutes or 10 minutes, he said, when would you like to start?
Ooh, that was an interview.
And it was on a Thursday. And I said, tomorrow. He said, oh, but tomorrow is Friday. Come on Monday. So Monday I went, and they gave me a desk and these things to work. I worked for 2 weeks. Then they brought me pen and paper. I said I should write application.
Oh, I see. Job first, application later.
Yes. And then I was put on Crown Agents. So I was doing auditing the Crown Agents. Later on, I graduated to Embassy's accounts. And one afternoon, I was working. it was a break time. And somebody came and said, you want to join the army? They want people to become officer cadets. Would you like to be one?
But did you express any interest in joining the army prior to that?
Long before, not the army, the Navy.
The Navy, you want to join?
I wanted to go to
Why?
the Navy. Navy, you travel all over the world. You know, you meet new people, new lands, new cultures, and this. So I have this, shall we say, strong feeling to go into the Navy. So he handed me the thing, so I wrote, and then they sent me, then a telegram arrived. Now, when I was in the audit department, they said foreign affairs, they wanted people. So I went to an interview. And when I went to the interview, the day that the military academy, they sent me a telegram. Those days was a telegram. I should report at the military academy at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Then there was a letter from Foreign Affairs. I have been accepted to come to Foreign Affairs at the same time, and they have increased my pay from £10, 6 and 8 pence to £16 something.
60% increase.
So I had to decide whether to go to the army or to go to the Foreign Affairs.
Did you know what the army was going to be paying you?
No idea.
No idea.
So if Saturday I didn't go to the army, then I had to go to Foreign Affairs. And if I didn't go to the, if I decided to go to the army, then I forget about Foreign Affairs. Nobody was prepared to tell me or to advise me.
Did you ask for advice from anybody?
Pardon?
Did you ask for advice?
Nobody. I said I asked nobody. Because they said, if I ask you to go do this and it didn't go well, you will say it was hard. So finally, I went to the army.
What made it for you? What decided you?
I think the Navy.
The prospect of going to join the Navy?
Yes, to go in the Navy.
All right.
I won't bore you with the details of what happened. In those days, you entered the place and you felt like running away quickly.
The army?
Yes. Officer cadet, so come on! Boom. Then they throw boots, both right. So if you pick it and it is size 9, you look for somebody who has got 2 left. And the thing was said that they didn't give you time
to think.
Because they think for you.
Yeah.
You become virtually a robot. So I became a cadet.
Were you stubborn before you joined the army?
I'm Mensa.
Okay. So in Ghana, if you say you're
and
Mensa,
you add Kwame to it.
Okay. So very strong-willed.
So you know what it is. So I joined the army. I never told my daddy. My daddy got to know about me being in the army when I was already a cadet. When I was going to be commissioned, I never told anybody. Immediately we were commissioned, I went to Britain to do the young officers course and came back. So here was I in the army. Then came 66.
Yes. You know a lot about that.
Yes. I was then in the Recce Regiment.
Based where?
I was in Bravo Squadron in Accra.
Okay.
Then, before then, I had worked with Kotoka as his staff captain Q-mate in logistics at the headquarters.
This is the architect of the 66 coup.
Yes.
Okay.
So we bonded together. And what went on, because he's not here, I cannot say those things.
But what was it like working with him?
Beautiful.
What kind of person was Kotoka?
Yeah, actually, it was Kotoka who, I was then a lieutenant.
What was his rank? What was his rank when you were lieutenant?
He was a lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
And when I worked with him, the staff captain Q-mate, then you have a DQMG before him.
QMG is Quartermaster General.
Yes.
So DQMG is Deputy?
Yes. Deputy
Quartermaster General. What does the Quartermaster General do?
He's in charge of the logistics of the whole armed forces. Okay. So, and most of our requests from units and from all units, they arrive about 1 o'clock. And we close at 1. So from 12:30 to 1, the requests will all come in. Then the Quartermaster General will make comments on it. Write this, do this, do this, do this. Because the DQMG went on leave, I had to do my work, that of the DQMG.
And report to Lieutenant Colonel Kotoka.
So what I did was that I would wait after he had closed. Then I would go to the mess. I was then staying in the Araka mess. Then eat, rest for about an hour, come back to the office and work until 10 o'clock.
Full day. Very full day.
Yeah. Work, and not knowing that he was taking note of what was happening. And one evening about 9:30, he came and knocked. And I said, "Who is that?" He said, "I'm the Quartermaster General." I said, "What?" He said, "I've caught you today." He said, I give instructions, but early morning, you have done it. You send the letters, you type letters, you know. By 1 o'clock that day, when he came to office, he wrote that I should be given a pay of high rank and promoted to acting captain.
Good recommendation.
Yeah, that's how I became acting captain. Then I was posted back to my unit. He had gone. Okay, he had gone to become a brigade commander in Kumasi.
What does it mean to be a brigade commander?
Oh, a brigade, okay, when you say brigade, a brigade, you have battalions, about 3 battalions, okay, with ancillary units like Recce Regiment, a squadron of Recce, mortar, and all that. So they all form a brigade group. So you become the head of that one.
Quite a powerful person in the army.
Pardon?
Quite a powerful person in the army.
Very powerful. I mean, if you are a brigade commander, you can do anything. Fast forward to Achampo.
Yes. No, but even before that, did you know that there was going to be a 66 coup?
Me?
Did you know? I mean, you were close with Lieutenant Colonel Kotoka. Did he tell you anything?
I can't possibly answer that question now, for very good reasons.
Because the people are not here?
For very good reasons. Let us take.
But 66 happened.
So we come to 66. When 66 happened, I was then on company commander course in Teshi.
Okay, you were in Teshi.
And by design, I don't know what happened. When field engineers, when they moved, they started singing, okay? And they are near,
So you could hear them?
The training school.
What kind of songs were they singing? I want to hear. Just one of them.
Zamina mina, zamina mina, zamina mina, yekwabo, 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 zamina mina, yekwabo, yekwabo, zamina mina, yekwabo. That is enough for you.
Thank you.
As they were coming, as they were passing, then the officers who were on company commander's call, they all rushed to my room. They talking, what was happening, as they were talking, I was dressing up.
Getting ready.
By the time they realized what had happened, I had left and I was in Rekki. And when I came to Rekki, they had moved and they had left one ferret on the square.
What is a ferret?
A ferret is an Abbott car, the small one. We have, in those days, we have the ferret and the Saladin. Saladin is the bigger one. With the three, you have the commander, you have the gunner signaler, and the driver signaler. Okay, in the ferret, you have only two people. And you have the commander, which is sitting on top, and the driver signaler. Okay. So, as a commander, you are the gunner at the same time. So, when they said there was something wrong with the gun. But when I came, I checked and everything was all right. So with my driver called Agboche, we joined. And don't ask me what I did. But
66, you would have been in your 20s.
Yes.
Yeah, almost 28.
38.
Yes, 38.
Yes.
Yes.
So, no.
28.
I was
28 years old.
28.
Young officer.
Yeah, young officer. So, I did what I have to do. I can tell you just one. One, as a bonus. The battalion that was supposed to enter broadcasting house, they were crouching at the walls. You are from broadcasting, the walls. And then I went there and I cocked my gun and I said, are you supposed to guard the place or to enter and capture the place? So I cocked my gun and I said, if you don't move, I'll move all of you down. Don't be afraid. I'm supporting you. They entered. Now, then, you know, Colonel Zanlarigu was the CEO of the Presidential Home Guard Regiment.
Commanding officer, yes. This is the regiment that protects the president.
Yes.
President Kuma.
And Colonel Zanlarigu was such that if he's dressed up, you couldn't look him in the face. Very scary. And it was believed that he had a pelikpeji.
Powers.
Yes. So, at that time, some of the POGR boys were in the Flagstaff house, you know, occasionally firing pot shots. Then they asked Colonel Zanlarigu to go and tell them to lay down their arms. Now, the CEO of 2nd Battalion, who was to go to him and tell him, was afraid. He said, no way. He couldn't go and tell the man. So I said, I will go, I will tell him. So I went to Colonel Zanlarigu. I said, I'm to escort you to tell your people to lay down their arms. I'm Colonel Zanlarigu, your commanding officer. President is not in this country, so lay down your arms, and came out.
Did you listen to him?
They listened to him. There is one officer. He's a reverend minister. He's called Reverend Lieutenant Colonel Oting. You need to talk to him. He will tell you about his side, and he was then in the people in the Flagstaff house. He can tell you his side of the story also.
Did you ever talk to Lieutenant Colonel Kutokai and ask him why he did the coup?
You ask him? No.
You never asked him why he killed?
No.
What was his
ask
justice?
him. You asked me whether I knew about the 66 coup, and I said I won't give you an answer. So this one, you want me? I will tell you something that happened. So finally, the thing was over, and I took Zanlarigu to police headquarters. Later on, they gave the man who said he was afraid to see him, to see Zanlarigu, they gave him medal for bravery.
The man who was scared?
Yeah. Okay?
That's odd.
Yeah. They gave him medal for bravery. So this is what happened. And something else happened. So many people who were cowards showed up as the people who were brave. And those who were brave, nobody remembered them. That was 66 coup.
Yeah.
Then we come to 67.
That was the attempt to overthrow.
Attempted coup.
Yes. But just before you go, 66, what was Ghana like before the coup? I mean,
Right.
What were the conditions
I
like?
have heard people say 66 coup was a day of shame for Ghana. I beg to differ. You said I was 26 years. I was old enough to know my left from my right.
28, yeah.
Before 66, you couldn't drive your car or go in front of Flagstaff House. If you looked at Flagstaff House twice, by the time you reached Sankara, security officers will be asking, why were you looking at Flagstaff House?
That was the residence or the office of the president.
Right. Before then, Thomas cycle, it was toot. You make if you rode a Thomas cycle and you passed in front of Flagstaff, by the time you got to Sankara, you could be arrested.
Was it that
They would think that
it was a gun?
Yes.
Was it because of
noise.
Paranoia because
Yes.
of all the
I'm
attempts?
telling you, you asked me the
The
situation.
attempts, the attempts on Sergeant Foot's life.
Before 66, 2 or 3 of people you gather in the street you are talking, somebody will tap you on the shoulder and say, well, we suspect you are thinking of planning a coup. You could be arrested and taken, and nobody would have known where you've been taken. Before 66, actually things were, essential commodities were also, the prices were high.
Like what is an essential commodity back then? What was an essential?
Milk, sardine, and the rest. Okay? I'm just telling you facts. I'm not putting any color on it. Because of the PDA that was brought,
Preventive Detention Act.
if you go and chase the same girl with a district commissioner, and you're trying to gain an upper hand, you'll be in your house, they knock, if you are in Puerto, they take you to Nsawam. All right? It came to a point, members of the CPP were hoping for something to happen. There is a Lagos Observer, which I have here. If I had known, I would have brought it.
It's publication. The newspaper.
And I'll give it to you. You give it back, you send it back to me later. I've laminated it. There are certain questions in it. All right? So the situation was such that everybody was scared, was afraid. 1 o'clock news. Ginging, that was broadcasting. And when you here is the news read by John Hammond, then we know that some heads were going to roll. So John Hammond was associated with bad news. And if you are a senior officer working in a department and you don't listen to the 1 o'clock news, you will come back to find that somebody sitting on your chair. I'm saying I lived through it. I didn't read what I'm saying. I didn't hear it from anybody. So if you come in 2020 on something and you are condemning what happened and you didn't live through it and you didn't know what happened, you should know that every situation has its nuances and things that have not been written. That was 66.
So that's what led to the coup?
This. And then if you find out the reasons given for the coup, one of them was capricious use of power. And one of them, another one of them, was oppressing and suppressing and one man's show business. And what people didn't know, that Kwame Nkrumah was going to change the flag, the national flag, and substitute it with the CPP flag. What people didn't know was that Brigadier Bauer was going around the units asking officers and men to be registering them to have CPP cars. And that was the beginning of the trouble of the military getting involved in staging a coup.
What was Brigadier Bauer's position
He
in the
was
army?
close to Nkrumah. He was confidant of Kwame Nkrumah.
Okay, so he was like an advisor?
Yes.
He didn't have any formal role?
He was the brigade commander.
Okay. Of which of the brigades?
One brigade.
Okay.
Kulumshiri. And therefore, to go around units, registering, that was the beginning of soldiers for the government, soldiers against the government. Then we have the POGR, you think?
President's Own Guard Regiment.
Yes. It was only to protect the person of Kwame Nkrumah. And by extent, that was a personal army. And the Constitution frowns upon personal army. So some of these things we all forget. That where we were heading, we were virtually heading towards the abyss. But let me add a radar and say that if I, sitting here, say that Kwame Nkrumah was not the founder of this nation, and that Kwame Nkrumah, most of the, he set the developmental projects that he set up were not the best, I would have been, there was something I've been wrong with my head. But the truth is that if you touch on the liberty of the individual, you touch on the liberty of all. And that I will not compromise.
So what went wrong? He started quite well. When do you think the flip happened and then things started going downhill, which led to the 66 coup?
Yeah, the PDA that came.
Preventive Detention Act.
People were just being arrested left, right, center.
So the liberties.
And if you talk to anybody who is as old as myself, ask him, when the 66 coup happened, did any soldier go to anybody's house to say, come out to the streets? People just poured out on the streets. The jubilation was spontaneous. It could tell, it tells volumes of 66.
Do you believe the argument that this was a coup that was sponsored by the Americans, CIA, they bought some Ghanaians and turned them against Osama?
Me, I don't know any CIA man. So when I joined the coup, did any CIA speak to me? Do you understand my
I understand you. But it's a secretive thing. You wouldn't know who is a CIA agent, would you? Will you?
Yeah, they said, so did any CIA man convince me? That's the point I'm making.
I get you.
I knew what was happening in the country. Okay? I knew that people were being arrested without cause. And I was feeling the pinch also.
So 66 happened. Did it stop the rot?
Good question. Good question. Let me be honest with myself. I was disappointed after some time. You understand? I was disappointed because when they started selling the assets and destroying, Kwame Nkrumah set up a lot of factories, set up a lot of hotels, Ghana Airways. We had, when we finish, you take a shot of a merchant navy. We had our own merchant navy, Black Star Line.
Yes, indeed.
And when we started destroying those things, I realized, and selling them off, I became sorry for myself. You have to speak the truth.
Indeed.
Because my allegiance is to God, to my country, and to myself. Because the Bible says if your conscience does not condemn you, you are all right. So that is the 66. Then what happened in 67? A mere lieutenant left Ho and came to Accra. Recce. Lieutenant Atta. But I won't dwell much on it because what happened was a disgrace, excuse me,
He tried to overthrow the government.
of the senior officers of the Ghana Armed Forces. The cowardice that was shown. And when we have to do a program on 67, then I will tell you what actually happened. That was why, when it comes to national this thing, they quietly pretend as if 67 never happened.
What really happened?
It will take a whole day to take the thing out.
Give me the capsule version, short version.
I'll give you a short version. That the people, the senior officers, who were even members of the NLC.
National Liberation Council.
Yes.
Which took over after 66.
Yes. He came to my unit. When I wanted to talk to him, he was running away. He ran away and hid himself in a toilet in 2nd Battalion. So when when Harley came and said the coup has been foiled, ask Harley, how was the coup foiled? When Afrifa came and said the coup had been foiled, ask Afrifa, he was in the north. Ask him how was the coup foiled?
Because you made the announcement.
I can tell you how the coup was foiled.
Tell me.
But nobody wanted to listen. And nobody wanted to know.
Why do you think that was so?
Because people said I had disgraced them.
In what way?
I can mention it. A person like Brigadier, the ever Brigadier.
Alphonse
Akata. They asked him to prepare a citation for me. He said, no, I have disgraced the senior officers. I should have called one of the senior officers to make the announcement. That was my crime.
So just the 67 event, this is Arthur, Yeboah, and there's Poku
Yeah.
tried to take down the government.
Yes.
And you found out about it. You foiled it.
Yes.
And then you announced that
Yes.
the coup had been foiled.
Yes.
That's a brief summary of that.
Yes.
And then you got punished for that.
And I was reduced. Remember, I was an acting captain. I was reduced from acting captain back to lieutenant, and I was put in the guard room for 3 days.
Because they said, well, you should have made a senior officer announce it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where were the senior officer? I went to Brigadier Kraft's house. I was knocking. He had gone back to his room, hid himself in the toilet, and withdrew the guards who were protecting him. I went and I was knocking. Nobody wanted to hear the story.
What was it like in the guard room for those weeks?
Officers are not supposed to be put in the guard room. But I was put in the guard room. For what? For announcing that the coup had been foiled. It was in my hand. Those who were doing flags of house, the soldiers, I called them, I sent them to Recce. And they were like sheep. the background, I'll tell you the story. All right, this was 66.
But
Then,
how did you come out of the God?
after 3 days, they came and released me.
Okay.
And up to today, nobody ever told me what happened. But I went and confronted Ankara in his house.
He was a head of state then.
Yes, after some years, when he also retired. And he said, then I said, when I made the announcement, you people came back. Why couldn't you call me to ask me of my side of the story? He said, people will say that I'm a spy for them. And I said, spy for what? And he said, oh, you deserve a grand medal. And I said, who is going to give me a grand medal now? You are no more there. Who is going to give me a grand medal? And I said, and I asked him, do you know one of the reasons why I joined the coup? Why I became a soldier? He said, no. I said, let me tell you. When I die, and my children pick up my picture, they should say, this our father was a brave man. That was my aim when I was. And I said, when I joined the army, I said, when I was a captain, I will leave.
And you got your wish.
And I got my wish.
Let's fast forward. So from 67, then the new Second Republic was installed in 69.
Yes.
With Premier.
Then 72.
Bouzia, and then 1972 happened.
Yeah.
When
Bouzia became prime minister, you remember the aliens compliance order?
Yes.
That was what broke the camel's back.
This was a law that was passed to get illegal aliens.
Yes. Yes.
Out of the country.
Yeah.
It affected a lot of Nigerians.
Yes.
And other citizens.
One day, you know the 37?
Roundabout.
Roundabout. No, it wasn't a roundabout in those days. Then they used to sell bread and all these things.
Yeah.
And then Continental Hotel.
Which
I was around there
yeah.
when these aliens were going.
They had been deported.
They had been deported. They were in this truck, Watonchimi. It was about 3-story high. Kafude, I wept. And I said, this is man's inhumanity to man.
What was the justification of the Bouzia government for passing this law?
Well, he said they were Ghanaians to take the commanding heights of the economy. I think that was the things he was saying. He said, that alone, that was why I took part in the 72.
When did you start planning for the 72 coup?
For security reasons. I don't want the young officers to start learning something
Ideas from you.
from that.
So then let's talk about your relationship with General Achampong.
Achampong was a good friend. And he became 5th Battalion Commander.
Stationed where?
Accra. And Reki and the battalion, we were like brothers. And we used the same mess, Arakan mess. So to keep a long story short, I was to make sure that the telephone lines were cut.
When the government was being overthrown.
I'm talking about
yes.
assignment.
Cut the lines. Okay.
So I had to find somebody working in the signal regiment to do it. And remember, in a coup d'etat situation, if you hear and you don't report, you are involved.
Yes.
So how can you tell somebody, I'm going to stage a coup, so go and cut the lines? Can you do it?
No, because if you hear, you have to report. And if you don't report, you are caught. You are complicit.
So, but, I took an officer, I put him in a car, drove into Labadi Hotel, and told him, we are going to stage a coup. And me, I don't know. There is one word which is not in my diary: fear. So I said, we are staging a coup. So I knew him. His brother is married to my wife's auntie. So I knew that there could be in fact, he was fair. So once I was talking, he was becoming redder and
Blushing.
redder, and he was flatulating a little bit on the side. Sorry for my language, but that is the truth.
That's what fear can do to you, right?
Yeah. So when I came, I said, Joel, I beg you, I can't do it, but I will report. Then I called another officer who works with the signal regiment. And this was what I told him. I said, he's a gunman. And I said, we know your family house. We have wrecked all your family members. What I'm going to tell you now, if you go and report and they arrest me, that is a signal that they should kill every member of your family.
Would you have done it?
Oh, I don't even know the man's family house.
So it was a bluff.
So when I said, he said, Joel, I'll do it. He did it. He became, they sent him to, his reward was to go to the Defense Advisor's office in London. Okay? We did that. So we came. On that day,
13th January.
yeah, the coup was actually to take place on the 15th January, but it leaked. So we didn't want to be, to be there and be arrested like this thing. So we quickly shifted it forward. And then Achampon sent somebody to me to tell me that I shouldn't go and make an announcement. He himself will make the announcement. So you could, So on that day, the officer, a very senior officer, Lieutenant Colonel, who was supposed to take over Flagstaff House, he was nowhere to be found. So Achampon and Bedu came to Reki and said whether they couldn't find the officer, so whether I could do it for them. So I said, send a company through to 37, and I'll go to Super. And I went to enter Flagstaff House alone.
Were you armed?
I never carry arms.
Why not?
I entered Flagstaff House alone with my ferret and my driver, Agboche. And I jumped out of the ferret. And I said, I'm counting 10. By the time I finish counting 10, no matter who you are, I want you to come, put your arms on the right, and lie down and put your arms on the right. One, by the time I got to 6, all of them have come. They've laid down their arms, and their arms are on the right. Then Akufo, who became the head of state later on, Akufo was the Colonel GS at the time. Then I saluted him, and I said, you are on arrest, sir. I gave him the full compliment as a senior officer. Then that was the time the infantry arrived.
So you had done the operation already?
Then I said, bring one Land Rover. I opened it. I saluted him. He sat down. I saluted him. I said, driver, I said, you are a gentleman. Sir, take him to Gonda. And they took him. That was 72.
So who announced the coup that day?
Kotoka.
Achampon.
Achampon himself.
Okay.
Now, one thing also I want to tell you. They say the military government is no good. Okay. Before the coup, there was the agreement that nobody was going to use a Mercedes-Benz. They were going to use Datsun cars. Remember that this car had just come, the small one. That was what we're going to use. The military was not to rule. We were to call all the civilians who were politicians. They form a government. That was the one he brought at the end.
The union government. Okay. So that was supposed to be the plan from
yes,
the beginning.
we were not to rule, but we should give them what they should do. This is what you should do. If they are not doing it, you can sack them and bring other people to carry on. That was the agreement. And when I started proposing that, he arrested me. A lot of people didn't know.
You were arrested
I was arrested and put in DNR headquarters. I was there for almost eight days. And then one time when I was coming from town, I was sick. I went to Long Pharmacy, who, if you know, they were pharmacies. When I was before I came, Kogo Johnson, my Batman, came and stopped me and said, "Don't go, they will kill you." I said, "Why?"
This is happening in which year? Which regime?
72.
72. When Achampong had been installed?
Yeah, because I had said we didn't want the military to rule. So they said I was bringing CIA to come and take over. So therefore they arrested me. So by the time I got to my house, they had fired, they had ransacked my house and fired. A lot of people didn't know this. But notwithstanding, what were the achievements of the military government? If I start narrating them now, and you are a person who can do a research, and you can compare Achampong's government and the period he ruled to all the civilian government. And my assessment, the one that came near was Nkrumah and perhaps Mahama. By way of development, by way of adding quality to the lives of the people in this nation. Samens, you stayed in Chapatre. Chapatre was built by Achampong.
This is in the Ashanti region?
Yes. All the residences was Achampong. Bon hydroelectric this thing, Achampong. Dansoman, Achampong. For the first time in the history of this country, we were exporting rice and maize out of this country. It has never happened before. It can never happen. Because Achampong took deliberate steps to make this country, everybody to get involved. Civil servants, he said, civil service close at 3 o'clock. Go and do a backyard garden. Do poultry. Do this. Do this. And civil servants were doing this, and people were having money in their own pockets. I was the regional manager of food distribution in Kumasi. I have the authority to write to give people permits to send rice and maize to Burkina. I had the opportunity to become a billionaire. But because we were serving this country, we wanted this country to be a better place for all of us to live in. I have about 12 depots under me. I was selling cutlasses. I never put one peswa on any cutlass. I could have put it on it and took the money. No, because I love my country.
And the head of state, Achampong, was on the top of all of this, inspiring you to do this.
Yes.
So what happened? Well, how come? Were you surprised, for example, in '78 where there was this palace coup and then he was removed? Did that surprise you?
I'll tell you about 78 later. But Achampong, I was then in food distribution. Then he came to Kumasi. Then there was a cocktail. Then Achampong came to me and said, Joel, how come that anytime we want to give you something, your own people come and they say, hey, if you bring Captain Joel, he will come and sack all of us? Because their hands were not clean. I won't stand for nonsense. Excuse me. I won't stand for corruption. I won't stand for anybody oppressing and suppressing another Ghanaian. That is why they say I'm difficult. I won't play ball for corruption. I won't. I won't stand for it. No matter who you are, I will look you in the face and I will tell you.
So you had lots of enemies, I'm sure.
I've spent 3 years in condemned cells.
What for?
Yeah, because Achampong said I was trying to overthrow him.
What was that experience like? What was it like? What's it like to be on death row?
I will advise everybody, if you are not a Christian, give your life to Christ and be a Christian and use the Bible as your guide. Whatever decisions you make, find out whether you can find foundation. justification from it in the Bible. That kept my sanity going. That I met God face to face in prison.
What does he look like? What does he look like?
It is not easy to fall into the hands of an angry God. Look, somebody will say, I'm boasting, or I'm saying because it's this present government. God told me about a type of government that will come, who will say one thing and do another thing. And if I were to tell you the things that God told me in prison, you will say, you have to examine my head and find out whether I am correct. And if I were to tell you that in prison, God used a bird to come and stayed with me and teach me a bird language, you will say my head needs to be examined. If I were to tell you the bird will come to town and tell me everything that has happened in town, you will say this man, he must see a psychiatrist. You see, President Kufuor, with your permission, when you were president, several times we had a conversation and I told you, God said this, do this, do this. If I'm telling lies, please tell the whole world that I'm lying.
So you met God when you were in the condemned cells?
Yes. And he said, Joel, he called me three times. Joel,
God himself.
you will go home tomorrow. My name is Joel.
Yes.
And I said, why not tomorrow?
Did he speak Ewe or English?
English.
God spoke English.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, Joel, you will go home tomorrow. I said, sir, why not today? The third time he said, Joel, you will go home today. By midnight that same day, I came home. That is the God we serve.
What was it like though? What was your toughest day inside the condemned cells?
Toughest day?
Yes.
No, I'll tell you my best day.
Okay.
Whatever you do in life, it will come back to you. 72, I was one of the officers who went through all the where people go and ask for the one job. How do you call it?
Labor office?
Labor offices. And I arrested all of them to Asutrare to go and cut the sugar cane. And Asutrare can be very cold in the night. So I went to millet factory. They produce blankets, collected blankets, come and share it to them. Getting to midnight, one boy came to me and said he didn't get a blanket. So I gave my own blanket to him in 72. That was forgotten. God, when we went to condemn cells, then a certain boy came. Who is Captain Sowu? Who is Captain Sowu? And I said, are you the one? You remember Asuchari? I said, yes, I'm the one. He said, do you? I said, no. Do you? I said, no. Do you? I said, no.
Which one is?
Do you shasha? Do you smoke?
Okay.
And do you?
Yeah. Yes.
I said, no. He said, I am the boy you gave the blanket at Asutrare. You see, God, how he can prepare a place for you in a very difficult situation.
Indeed.
In that difficult situation, there is a way. When he told me, I'll make sure you eat good food, I didn't understand. Until you remember a man called America Ireka. They brought beans for us to eat, and he opened, while he was going to, he just wanted to think, there was phlegm in the beans. So God knew what people were eating. At Champon Tam, we have Special Action Unit. And I was a member of the Special Action Unit. What were we to do? to make sure that people went on to work on time. Okay?
How do you do that?
We went to the offices. When it's 8 o'clock, if there is we lock the gate. If you come after 8,
You're late.
we wrote to them. And you know what I did? I said, charity begins at home. So 8 o'clock, I locked the castle gate.
Nobody can come in.
That day, they thought I was staging a coup. And Achampo was inside. So later on, he said to me, I said, you said I should make people come to work early.
Yeah.
You're under you here. They must also come to work
Let's
early.
start from the top.
No, I'm telling this to tell you that if we are going to do things, let us make sure we do it properly.
Were you surprised that Achampong started, his regime started missing its way? Which
Yeah, it was because it happens to all people who become head of states. And this is a free advice to anybody. Immediately you become head of state, there are certain people who constitute a mafia and they cocoon you. It happened to Kwame Nkrumah. They cocoon you. They make sure you don't see the reality on the ground. You don't know what is happening. So what they tell you, to you, that is the thing. I'm telling you. The day they told Kwame Nkrumah that we were broke, he wept. It was Abbey, one Abbey. You know that. So he was then a young man, a small young man.
So you think our current president, if they tell him some home truths and he finds out, he'll weep as well?
No, as for him, I will not even think, because of the Ajapadier document. So I know his mind. Do you follow my point?
Yeah. So Achampong was cocooned.
Well, it got to a point. You know, when he was cocooned, then it came to a point for the palace coup to happen. Because that palace coup wouldn't have happened if he had listened. There was a function and there was a woman there. That woman was a prophetess. And he was prophesying. He said, a time will come, your people, your own people will betray you. And the people around you, they will be part of it. And they all said, oh, no, we won't be, there's nothing like that. And he said, on this day, don't go to work. On that day, a small boy came to Bemakam and said he wanted to see Achampo. And they thought the boy was smoking weed. He said, I'm not smoking weed. God has sent me. Tell Achampo, if he leaves the house today, he will never come back. And when he left, he never came back. So that was the day he was not supposed to go out. So he was coming from upstairs. He had dressed up and he was coming to wear his boots. Then one of the members of the house was and then a woman who say, don't go to work. Then he threw the boots away. 5-10 minutes later, a call came. Oh, Ojam, this is the nickname they have. Ojam, oh, Mesha Bibi Kakra Mami. Then tell them you have a stomach or trouble or something. And he went. When he went, they put the business sign. That was the end.
And so now General Akufo becomes head of state.
Right.
And then 79 comes.
You see how the prophetess said, if you do it,
Something's going to happen.
all of you will die. Where are all of them?
May 15th.
Pardon?
May 15, 79.
Yeah.
Where were you in Ghana?
Oh, May 15th, I had just come back from prison.
Ah, yes, you had spent some time in prison. So, enjoying your liberty.
I came out of prison 18th November 1978.
8?
Okay? And I used to go to Birmingham to play squash.
Okay.
I would have been involved in June 4th.
You think so?
Oh, not that I think so. Somebody was trying to recruit me. But I'm an old Kana. You see, so I saw it.
Who was that recruiter?
So I told the person that, so my
you
brother,
won't
I
tell
was
me.
staying with my brother at Pig Farm at that time. And my brother too saw what was on. I told my brother, you wait, I know what to do. Then one day he offered, he took me, in fact, he'd been taking me, bringing me back home. Then I said, as for me, I've just come out for prison. Anybody who will come and mention coup matter into my head, I will kill the person before I ask questions. But he stopped. Then 79 happened.
Yes.
I would have been part of 79.
So when did you know that something was happening on that day?
79.
Yeah, the 15th. The first 15th before 4th June. 15th May.
Oh, 15 days, we all know that. Because at the squash court, all sorts of conversations were going on.
Okay, so you kind of knew something was going to happen.
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether I know or not.
But were you surprised that Flight Captain Rawlings did what he did on that day?
You're trying to open a whole canker of worms, which I'm trying to put a lead on.
You can't fault me for trying. Me, I'll only ask the questions, you know.
And the problem about Ghanaians is that if God himself comes down, like the way he came down to see Moses, we will tell him to go back.
Why is that?
We are like ostriches. And we cannot discern and say, this is good, this is bad.
Is it because we want
And
to
we
please
play by stomach direction.
What is stomach? If a non-Ghanaian is listening and you say stomach
direction,
what does it mean?
If the man is a slave, and you tell him that, I want to liberate you, though that you can be free on your own, which happened in America. You say he's secured. He has something,
A place to lay his head.
Yeah, he has food to eat. For me to go there and start? No. So when there is election, and you bring a bentua.
The syringe for purging.
Yeah. And you bring 200 cedis. It's a lot of money to him. Vote for me. So he's going to vote for you, not because you are competent.
But because of the bento and the 200.
Here, at one election, one gentleman, we were talking, and he said, Captain, the truth of the matter, I took money from this man. So I have to vote for him because he made me swear.
That's what's happening these days.
Not that somebody told me, the man himself. He said it is not his wish that he vote for him. But he needed money. The man gave him money. He took the money. And he swore.
So Rawlings comes in, tries to overthrow the government, fails, is arrested.
I will tell you briefly. I personally had a problem with Rawlings. It will shock you. But before then, I'll tell you. Rawlings' mother used to bring me to our house at Tudu when he was young. And go to market. And when she came back from market, come and take him away. So I knew Rawlings when he was. When Rawlings was arrested on the 15th of May,
79.
my brother, Jesus Deladem, so we're banker, he was free with the BNR boys. So he used to send cigarettes and everything with him. And Rawlings' elder brother, you know him?
No, I don't.
Okay. And Niadi. He and my brother, we were all Boy Scouts, so they were close. So My brother was in Tema, and Niade was working in Vaco. Rollins used to come and spend holidays with them. So I'm telling you our relationship. Ask me, why do I say I have a problem with Rollins?
Why do you have a problem with Rollins?
Rollins have 11 years unfettered. No court, no parliament, nothing. He ruled this country for 11 years. His word was law. True? You think that he couldn't have changed the whole paradigm like Traore is doing, like this man is doing in Luanda? That is the truth. That is the naked truth. We lost 11 years. His word was law. Couldn't we have changed the paradigm? Like Kagame did in Luanda? Like Traore is doing, the Mali is doing, Burkina, the other one too, they are doing.
Niger.
Right. So this question brings me to coup d'etats. Is it good or is it bad? And anybody who had his head properly screwed on, compare our country Ghana under military regimes, under civilian government, the so-called democracy. And that what we are going through now, is it not worse? People have worked for 20 years. And we know the safest investment in any country is to buy government bonds. Today, people have died because they cannot access money that they have saved and put there. And we say it's democracy. And we say we like democracy. People have died. People are dying. And we say we like democracy. Somebody dips his hand into the consolidated fund without permission, without a procedure, and we can't do anything to him. And we say it's democracy. We like it. Judges' houses have been broken down. Nothing has been built. And we have to pay. That is not what? There's a public funds, what? How do you call it?
Protecting the public purse?
No. When they say there is a law.
Something about the state. Funds. Something to do with funds.
Yeah, that's
I'll remember it. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And you can't still do it. And you cannot take action about these things. And you are waiting until the people move out of government when they would have flown out of this country before you take some action. That is our democracy. That is our reality. And yet I hear people saying,
causing financial loss.
Causing financial loss to the state. If you are run the country to a ditch, then we applaud you. What means can you take to correct that? Look at the every you take people's money and say you've worked. Yes, you have worked, but I won't pay you. And we say that is democracy.
What would you prefer? What's the solution for you?
For me, When somebody commits this thing, a crime now, you punish him now.
Okay, so there must be accountability.
Yes. Not to come on radio and talk and tell, oh, that is the end. Right. Somebody comes and says, I took that decision because my mind is not working properly. And that man is a minister. When he has inflated the prices of goods, something that is supposed to be $1 to $19, and you maintain that price, and we all keep quiet too. We all keep quiet.
It looks like all that you're saying happened in the past as well. There's nothing new under the sun. It's in the Ecclesiastes. I mean, when I rewind to June 4th, these are some of the things that the June 4th revolution was all about. And they came in, oh, we want to do house cleaning, we want to clean things up. These problems are always with us.
I think you've missed my point.
No, I get your point.
No,
that people are not being punished for the offenses that they commit.
Right.
Yes. And these were the same concerns that
So I'm saying
had
it now.
in 79.
I'm saying it because I said we Ghanaians, we are the problem.
You said so earlier.
We are the problem. So I hear people, oh, I don't like coup d'etats. Democracy, I take democracy. So today, Chinese are virtually going to take over our country. Because we like democracy. Because we are in democracy. At the end of the day, when you wake up, you find that your armed forces have been taken over by the Chinese. Your police have been taken over by the Chinese. Bank of Ghana has been taken over by the Chinese. Then, when we all inside, they say, who caused them? Because we are not bold to call spade a spade. We all come and call a spade a long spoon.
But Captain, with respect though, I mean, if I'm still going back to 79, 8 military officers, including 3 former heads of state, were lined up and shot as punishment for what was seen as offenses, crimes they had committed.
Yes. Did we learn anything?
What did we
Did we learn anything from it? If 79 was to teach a lesson, then what happened in 81? Huh? Then what happened in 81?
So we didn't learn anything from 79?
From 66, we didn't learn anything.
Is that not depressing for you?
Why am I talking the way I'm talking? Look, sometimes I sit in my bedroom and I weep for hours for this country. Because something is happening and you can't do anything about it.
And I know you are a man of action.
I love action.
What would you do if you had the power?
Oh, Nche. Even when you take your car key and you're going to enter your car, you revise your notes, the traffic regulations, before you drive.
It's happening in Rwanda.
That gives you an idea.
Yeah, they're organized there.
Okay?
So more discipline required, more accountability, more following of the rules. And can it happen?
Galamsey is happening in this country. And we couldn't stop it. Why? Because the people who are to stop it are involved. And we don't have people who have balls, excuse me, who can go to somebody and look him in the face and say, resign. You can't run this ministry. You can't run this country. You can't run this Bank of Ghana. You can't run this place. Resign! If you don't have the moral maturity to resign, we are telling you, resign. When the people power, where people get up and say, enough of this nonsense is enough, people will resign. How can you say, somebody says, my man and he's still a minister? What he be that? And we all sat down and we are watching him.
So who is the savior? I mean, we have a few voices crying out in the wilderness, yours included. Like
I'm
John
saying
the Baptist.
that
Where is the savior?
if God comes
We will send him back.
and says and tells Moses, let's say there is a Moses in Ghana, and say, Moses, go and tell Ghanaians this is what they should do. They say, go back.
Where is the hope, Captain Joel Kwame? So where's the hope?
Let's pray. Because the Bible, when the people of Israel were in Egypt, what did they do? They were crying, opening their mouth and crying unto God. God told Moses, I have heard the cry of my people, so I've come down.
But you're saying people will send him back home.
But this time around, from what I've said, and from this, if people listen, they will begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if they see that light at the tunnel, the light will begin to shine in their hearts, and they will begin to change their mindset and say, this time around, when God comes, we won't ask him to go back. We'll say, we will listen to your servant.
For those young 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds who are hearing some of these things for the first time, your experiences with 66, your experiences with 67, 72, your time in Sawam, your recollection of what happened in 79, what should they take away from the what you've said? An 85-year-old former military officer who has served his country, has been involved in all manner of
to the youth
events
of this country, I'm sorry for you. You had one great opportunity and you messed it up. Ask me, what is that opportunity?
I'm curious.
For the first time in the history of this country, the youth from NPP, the youth from NDC, the youth from all the political parties, and they all came together, fixed the country. True? What did they do? They did a few demonstrations and it fizzled away. And I was on the program in Radio XYZ. All right? Katajia's program. I told him, I said, you people came and wasted our years. Because you think we, the old folks, we don't have any common sense in our head again. If any of you has spoken to me, I would have asked you, go and read more about Kwame Nkrumah when he was with the UGCC. When he broke away, what he did do? He formed the CPP.
I'm glad you're saying this because today is actually the 75th anniversary of the founding of the Convention People's Party, 12th June, 1949.
Hallelujah. The Holy Spirit is only one.
Yeah. It's 75 years today as we're recording this.
So I told him on the program, and I'm repeating it here. That great opportunity they had, they should have said after the demonstration, today we are forming a party. Then you stand for election, you win the election, you take the power and fix the country. That, if that is not common sense, then I don't know what is common sense to you again.
Captain, it's been a really interesting ride through your memory of events that shaped our nation. What one thing do you want to leave our viewers and those who are watching? I mean, about any key lessons that need to be learned from 79 all the way down?
My country, my fellow countrymen, I am 85 running up to 86. Mm-hmm. I've seen it all. I've been through it all. What I can tell you, or what I can leave with you, today, in your home, in your office, as you are walking on the streets, in the market, there is no one single person who come with a chest out and say, everything is all right. We are going to the elections in December. When President Kufuor was campaigning, he said, "She was sitting netu aba." When we go to the market, there is no NDC market, there is no MPP market, there is no CPP market. The worst thing you can do to yourself is to deceive yourself. What I've done today is only to juggle your mind. To let you know that if you alone, you are rich and the people around you are poor, then you are the most miserable person on the whole earth. So change your mind. Think through. Pray to God that the Holy Spirit should direct you to vote for the right person and the right people who are to run the affairs of this nation from 2025. Ephata. Shalom. Peace unto you all.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. And that was History Time with Captain Joel Sowu, retired. Tell me what you made of what he said. Put it in the comments below and let's have a conversation. Till next time, my name is Captain Joel. God bless.